Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning. Brie Sodano here, coming to you live. I'm a personal finance expert and the founder from Sheep to Shark. And today, what we are going to be talking about is authenticity, which is kind of a buzzword these days. So I will be on for about 10 minutes to just kind of talk about my thoughts on authenticity, kind of things that get in the way, and what to do to be the authentic version of yourself. So if this is your first time ever catching me live, please say hello in the comments. I read the comments and I check in. So even if you're watching the replay, I would appreciate it. And if you watch all the time, I would appreciate your comments. And if you take something away from this video, please feel free to share it with a friend or share it to your timeline, um, if that feels good for you. All right. So, authenticity. So there's been a lot of talk about unapologetically authentic and authenticity, and Brene Brown talks a lot about authenticity in her work. And this is my take on it. I think authenticity is when you know your values, you know who you are, you know what you want to do, and you have your desires kind of sorted out to be aligned to. Now, um, if you are not certain what your values are, and I'll tell you, a couple years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins event. I mean, this is a long time ago now. This 2017. We did this. I did this with a dear friend of mine. We went together, and there's this part we were at Date with Destiny, and where we start looking at our values. And um, oh, hello. I can't see your name, but I'm excited that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So we start to look at our values. And so the thing about our values is that our values that are the truth about what we do, the truth about what we value is a little bit different than like the things that we think we value. So when we talk about our personal values, the first thing I want to say about personal values is values comes from a place of void. Like, so we're going to value things that we think we don't have. We're always going to value things that we think we need to get, right? So if I was having a lot of trouble in my marriage, I'm going to value that beautiful connection more than if I have that beautiful connection. So values are they're rooted in void. So they'll change. They'll change as you make progress. They'll change. And assessing your own values is probably a good exercise to do, like, quarterly, maybe twice a year if you're, I don't know, I would say quarterly. So the things that you want to think about, the things you want to look at in regards to your values are like to find the truth about what you value. That you want to ask yourself some questions. Where am I spending the most of my time? What am I doing with my money? Like, really look at your money and say, where am I spending my money? All right. Where am I spending a lot of my mental energy? What am I talking about the most? What am I thinking about the most? What am I filling my space with? Look, right behind me. What do you see? You see a map of the world. It's custom made art. I ordered. Um, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a map. I love to travel. You see, my space is filled with travel, right? My visions, my imaginations are filled with travel. It's a high priority for me. Um, and so that's a thing. Another thing in my space and my stuff and my things is books. Why? Because I'm obsessed with learning. I learn about wealth. I learn about energetics. I learn about, you know, spiritual development and energy, what it's like in the body, what it's like in the money, all of these things, right? So when you start to really look and you start to make assessments, so you want to be looking, where are you filling your space? What are you doing with your time? Where are you spending your money? Where are you spending your mental energy? What are you talking about? What are your goals? This is going to give you the truth about what you value, the truth, the truth about what you're currently doing to create, right? And we will find sometimes that the things that we think we value are actually not the truth, right? And that's where that inauthenticity comes in. So I'll tell you, one of my top values is freedom. My husband's top value is family. And when we were talking about that one day, and I was like, "Oh, gross! My top value is not my family; it's freedom." That's the truth. I could and if I was to say that it was something else, I would be inauthentic with myself. Everything I do, I mean, I do for my family, we experience freedom together, but, and the way that Mike and I spend our time, the way that we do things is different because he values family and I value freedom, and I like to provide freedom to the family. Family's still real top values. It's not like I don't value those things, but when I really looked at that, I was like, "Ooh, self. Oh, gross." But it is what it is. It is. And I would be lying to myself otherwise. So that judgment of myself, right? That I just shared for myself, that judgment is that's where we get inauthentic with ourselves. And I want to talk for a moment about expectations and shame, because this is the stuff that really throws us off when it comes to authenticity. So, um, when we're growing up, we learn all of these things. So, like if you watch I have a free talk called Decode Your Money Mindset. Uh, and in there, we talk about your money belief system. And what happens from the time that you're born to like you're 10 years old, you pick up so much about being a human. You learn so much about being a human. Now, here's where this becomes a problem. So, you're learning from your own experiences, you're learning from what you're seeing your family doing, you're learning what you're seeing from your friends, you're learning from your community, like your church or school or neighborhood community. You're learning from the TV, radio, society at large. The expectations that you're learning are conflicting. You cannot ever possibly meet all of the expectations that you've put on your own self, but that you learned from yourself, from your family, from your friends, from your community, from your church, from your school, from your neighborhood, and from TV. You could never, never, ever do it. That's why body shame is such a thing. Why? Because you're supposed to be skinny, curvy, big butt, big boobs, tight abs, no stretch marks, but totally have stretch marks. You're supposed to bear children and not have stretch marks. Well, you cannot do. You cannot do all of it. You cannot do all of it. The expectations are conflicting, right? Like you can't be waif thin, Kate Moss. Like, do you remember that 90s model, Kate Moss? And be Kim Kardashian. You cannot be both at the exact same time. It's just not, you just can't. And so this is where we feel inadequate, where we feel bad, where we feel wrong, where we feel shameful because we cannot meet the expectations from everywhere. And shame is the idea that you're so bad that we're going to kick you out of humanness, right? Like when we think like back in time, the way that shame is a social construct to make sure everybody kind of is and in a tribal format, when you're only dealing with one set of expectations, shame is maybe an okay way to keep things together, to keep your humans aligned, to have the expectations and standards of your community met. But once society grew past these little tribal family, small communities into this world where there's a layers of expectations, we still feel that shame. And so that's where we get inauthentic with ourselves. That's where we get a little like, oh, all right, well, I want to do this for myself, but I feel like I should do this. Well, I want to do it this way, but I feel like I should do it this way. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like that. Like, I want to do this, but I feel like it's wrong. That's where we get off. That's where we get inauthentic with ourselves. So, what I want you to do, if you're watching this, is I really want you to grab a piece of paper and write down. A couple minutes ago, you could rewind the video. We talked about learning your value system. When you learn your own value system, what you can start to do is really lean into it and set boundaries around it, and kind of go from there. Because when you don't know what your own set of values are, you're spinning in the circle of conflicting expectations. You waste so much energy, you waste so much time. And I will tell you, so I work with a lot of clients, and that is so expensive. When clients know their own values, and I do this work with my limitless wealth clients, I do this work with my private clients, we get really clear on that our own internal values, and then we use those values to inform the decisions that we make in our own alignment. And then that's where the magic is, because when you're authentic to yourself, you shine brighter. You shine brighter because you're not worried about you're like, oh yeah. Funny thing is so like I actually value freedom is my top value. So travel's gonna be in the budget. And you feel congruent with that when you know those things. And so that leads to a sense of authenticity. And when you're authentic, you're shiny and bright, and you stop wasting your most precious energy, which are like your resources, your energetic resources. And then those same energetic resources can go toward wealth building. So, anyways, I'm taking clients for Limitless Wealth. I'm taking private clients right now too. Um, and we're taking clients for cash confident. So if you have questions, I have another call to go to right now, so I'm going to hop off. But if you have questions, you can shoot me a DM, and I'll ask you a couple of questions and make some recommendations for the best possible way I could serve you if you want to work with me. All right, I love you. Thank you. Bye. Have a great day.